nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. Joining me, we got the full crew together for the first time. We got Villain Enterprises.
First time in 2020.
Well, yeah, 2022, buddy.
2022. Wow. Well, it feels like 2020. I mean, let's be real. It's still 2020. Nothing's changed.
We got Rafa on the road. How are you? And where in the world is Rafa these days?
Right now, I'm live from Pflugerville, Texas. Here in my hotel room, working these couple days before the winter weather comes on Thursday, so I can head back to San Antonio.
Yeah,
dude, you got to give credit to Rafa, dude. He gets paid to do this show, not necessarily by us, but Royce, welcome back. I know it's your first cap for 2022, as we just discussed here.
Yeah.
How are you, and how was your holidays?
I'm here, man. Holidays were fun and frustrating, but looking forward to everything's getting put together for 2022. Everything's looking like sunshine and brightness, and looking forward. So pretty good. How are you doing, Harry?
Doing well. So we're going to get into Rafa's section here. Last Tuesday, I was actually out at the, up in Colorado, it felt like. Couple of games over at the north side, Gustafson Stadium. Saw Brennan and, I'm drawing a blank.
Harlan.
Brennan and Harlan through there, and then I watched the first half of the boys, and then I just froze out. And then on the other side, O'Connor and I think it was Jay. O'Connor and Jay. And O'Connor took care of, on the boys' side, the first game. And then even on the girls' side, they took care of things here. So got out for my first little taste of high school soccer this year. I need to get out some more, and especially my goal is to get out to catch South Side, some of the South Side action. But Rafa, while I get a drink of water here, tell us about week 2 and what excited you, what didn't excite you, and catch us up on this week here, and how soon are we to the Rafa Power 15 being official?
Well, this was it was past an interesting week. We had one district play, which is 29-6A. So like I said, we're out there watching some of the district games. I stayed on to watch the Harlan boys versus Brennan. Very tight game. Harlan dominated the whole game. They just couldn't really get one in until finally the goal started falling in, and then winning. They won 3-0 in that chilly night. So it was a good start for Harlan for their their defense of their district title. I was still had a glance to see the other side of the game, the J game with the girls. And O'Connor had another dominant performance. Like I said, they're going to be a sleeper team. The O'Connor girls, I think they may contend and could be, ones that end up in the regional tournament this come March. Well, come early April. And then we had some really interesting tournaments and showcases. I didn't get to see the ones on Friday and Saturday, but I did get to see your bar burner of a game at Comalander on Thursday. I did catch the tail end of Madison versus Harlan girls. Madison had a dominant performance. And then the one matchup I was really looking forward to was Bernie Champion versus Soft Lake Carroll from the Dallas area. So you have a perennial 6A power, been a state champ, versus a perennial 5A part from our area. So it was a good hit, like a little heavyweight boxing fight, and Bernie Champion didn't disappoint. They scored on a PK. It was a earned PK because it was a foul in the box. Then South Lake Curl equalized. I was kind of unsure about that goal. I think there was an offsides that was missed, but you can watch the replay on our Facebook page because I did live stream it. But it was a back and forth game, and like I said, Bernie Champion pulled out a win on the PKs 4-3. So that was a big win for the girls. Beating one of the state powers. On an upper classification. And one of the things I took note from that game, Bernie Champion was missing a couple players. I think also missing their head coach, and they really showed that as a team they just picked up the slack. They actually dominated the game, pretty much, and I was impressed. So I see them for 5A girls in contention with Dripping Springs, and Aldo Dripping Springs is a defending 5A girls state champ. So it's going to be interesting when they play against each other. I remember speaking to Coach Cano, said I think they're probably going to split, home and home, and we could see them in the regional finals, come April. So some good soccer action, and then we heard kind of read on tweet about the Lakes showcase. A lot of our boys teams play some top-notch teams from the Houston, Dallas area. Some had good results, some had to drop a couple, but it's a good way to test yourself because it's getting you ready for district play. And like I said, the records up to now really doesn't matter. What's going to matter is what you do in the district play coming up. And like tonight, there's a big game tonight that's going on, just kicked off with Lee versus Reagan. Those are your two favorites for 28 6A boys. Like I said, that's good. It's just a big heavyweight fight when it comes to the top two teams. I consider them probably one of the top three teams. Those two are the top three teams in the city for 6A, and we'll see what results we get hopefully by the end of the show. We'll know who won that game and so forth. But it was a good week for soccer preparation. I know there's other tournaments going on, with the girls too, with that showcase. We saw a lot of great teams play there. We also saw some teams head out to Houston for that I-10 shootout. We had some other ones, go to the Valley. Like Southwest went out to the Valley. They did suffer their first loss against a pretty good Brownsville Veterans Memorial team. The one game I was looking forward for them was, again, a game against Porter, but that got canceled probably because of COVID. So that was going to be a good matchup. But I think, like I said, Southwest will learn from that loss. It's like I said, it's a good way to test themselves, and I'm sure they'll probably see that team again, come playoff time, in the second or third round. And like I said, hopefully they'll match up with them and pick up a win and so forth. So that was a good week. And then, like I said, hopefully after this week, starting, like I said, next week we'll have our Power 15 because I want to see a couple results from district play, and then we're gonna see who's for real and who's not. Not some hot list or whatever. We're gonna see who's really the team, that's up there, when it comes to district play.
Any upcoming matches this week that you got your eye on for week 3?
I'm gonna look at the schedule. I haven't seen the schedule yet for Friday, so I'm gonna try to see which ones. Like I said, tonight I wish I was in San Antonio. The big game was Lee versus Reagan, but I'm sure there's going to be other big games. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be going to some other games, hopefully to show some love to some of the other teams like the SAISD teams. I know there's a big matchup coming up with a very upstart team from Sam Houston, when I've been in talks with their coach, and this isn't the Sam Houston team from old, and he's got a lot to say about this team. It's an up-and-coming team, and they're going to be going up against another good team from their SASD district rival. It's Lanier. So that's going to be a good game coming up. I think it's on the 28th. And then hopefully, like I said, we'll see some other games around the area to pick up, just to watch and see. And that way we can feature on there. Like I said, we're going to spread the love to all the teams, not just a couple. We're not here to jump on anybody's bandwagon. We're going to show the love to everybody here in San Antonio for the boys and the girls soccer programs there.
Yeah, so Royce, we'll kind of catch you up or get your thoughts on a little bit of last week's conversation with
Okay.
the San Antonio roster, because I know, unfortunately, you weren't able to be here. So just to kind of catch up with where we're at. So player and you good resource on this is the Striker Texas, Jonathan Check. If you follow him, he's got a good off-season tracker.
At Check Jake Footy.
And like I said here, he's got a pretty good list of going on and dates here. Now, one thing that is different from his list than the SAFC roster is Ollie Wright. According to Jonathan, Ollie signed a 2-year contract back in December of 2020. However, as of yet, he has not been announced by SAFC as being returning, which doesn't shock me. Just, it'll probably happen in the next week or two. I have a feeling for that. All indications from Ollie on social media, he's around town. He's around here. So,
right.
It just hasn't been announced that he's back for that here. But players under contract, assuming that Ollie's back, Leo Torres, who's returned back from loan, Patino, Dylan, Jose, PC, Abu, Mitchell Tainer was a transfer in for that here and signed a multi-year deal. Coming new, that we talked about last week, Carter Manley from RGV, and Elliot Collier, a forward from Chicago Fire for that here. And then this week, they announced David Lorera, who is a attacking midfielder, a young guy, spent on from Orlando City, but spent part of the season with Phoenix Rising, and they were really impressed by him. And with the people, with the friends that I have over there, they said that if he gets minutes, he's going to be good. He's very good, in even in San Antonio's. And San Antonio's description of him, they mentioned that he's a dynamic and creative attacker who excels in one versus one attacking situations. David is very competitive, demonstrates a strong work ethic, and is committed and ambitious professional who fits our team culture for that here. But he comes from Orlando City. I believe he's 5'5", if I remember right from his height here. To me, he seems like a Pirano type of player. Just in the feel that I've got from him, which I don't know if we had one of those last year. I think Cuello was, but they moved him out for.
Disagree.
Gallegos.
Disagree. It was Gallegos and Epps were the two Pirano type players. And I think he's going to slot in where Epps came out. So you're going to have Lorera on one side, and you're going to have Gallegos on the other, and they're just going to absolutely frighten defenses. That's where he's going to slot in.
That's if Jose stays. That's if Jose stays.
That's very true.
Although we are
it's a little
2 weeks away from
it's a little over half. Yeah, it's a little over halfway. Well, in Spain and France and Germany, I believe the January window is a couple weeks later than England. England closes right on the 31st, and I don't think he was going to England anyway. So
the other player that they signed, I had that all queued up wrong, was Shannon Gomez. Comes to us from Sacramento Republic. To me, he is the Sam Gleadle replacement. He's a veteran defender, Trinidad and Tobago. From my understanding, he's quick through there here. He's
according to
with exceptional speed.
Yeah, according to Mitchell Taintor, he's fast.
Yes.
As he tweeted that out. So yeah.
So now, if you look at his numbers, I think Gleadle had better numbers as far as scoring along those lines here, but. From my understanding, his asset is crossing the ball, which, with how San Antonio FC plays with their wing backs, that is an important skill that they need to have, as well as with that speed here. So
that's correct. That's why you have Patino and Dylan up front, is you want them to get crosses and you want to put them in, and then later in the match, You'll have the Courtney Ford direct replacement in Carter Manley also go up, which you saw a lot with RGV last season, and he will try to go up and get a goal himself. So that's exactly where Shannon fits in, and it kind of seems like a really good fit. So we'll see. That's a really good signing by SAFC. Very, very smart bit of business. So we'll see how that fits in.
So just looking at the roster here, right now we're running the 3-5-3. Tanner, Manley, Gomez, Leo, PC, Jose, Abu, David, and then up top, Patino, Dylan, and Collier. I thought Collier is more of that. So I think Patino starts, but I think Collier is that 60-minute sub that comes in, unless you think Dylan does. I guess, Rafa mentioned that he thought Collier would fit more the Nathan role.
That's correct. I agree with Rafa.
With that here.
Yeah, Collier is going to be more the Nathan, more the transition between midfield. Most of his highlights are dribbling highlights. So he's definitely going to be that link between. He's a big dude, but he is going to be that link between midfield and the forward core, which that is kind of a knock on the SAFC midfield is height. PC and Abu aren't exactly the tallest, but you go ahead and throw, if in defense, they are going to go back in that like that 5-3-2 or that 3-5-2, however you want to look at it. If you have Collier kind of in the middle there's not a height disadvantage there because he's 6'4". So I think
he's a tall guy.
Yeah, I think that's where he slots in really well. And he is going to be that kind of Nathan replacement as of right now. And then, like I said, so how the formation's shaping to be, it's going to be similar to last season. I would imagine. Hold on real quick. Got a frog in my throat. You're going to have Taintor where he was on the left side center back. There's going to be a center back that is to be named. We don't know yet. The right-sided center back, the replacement for Courtney Ford is Carter Manley. Wing backs, we're not too sure about. We know one is Shannon Gomez. The other's kind of up in the air.
Wouldn't it be PC?
PC.
Oh, it could be. Yeah. So that's the thing. It could be PC, and PC could tuck in. Yes.
And I think who would be your defense? Holding.
Yeah. Okay. Then we'll do that. PC is going to be your left winger, who's also going to tuck in. Abu's going to be the 6 in the middle. Ironically, that PC still 6, but we'll see if the number change. PC in the middle, and then in front,
Gallegos.
Going to be Gallegos and Lorera on the edges. In the middle, you're going to have Collier, and up front, you're going to have either Patino or Abu, or Patino or Dylan JD. So that's how it's going to ramp up. In net, that's going to be interesting, and that's kind of the big question that's on everybody's mind is what's happening. And my thought about it is they don't know. I think they're still trying to see where Matt Cardoni is physically. I think they're still waiting for his hip to recover from that injury he had. I don't think they know, but obviously they're probably looking at the market, and they're just they're waiting. I'm sure they have feelers out, but we'll see, dude. If need be,
there's one that we could probably get.
You know what? If push comes to shove, if you're gonna have Taintor and Manley, and if you're gonna have somebody in the middle, I'm pretty sure I could play goalkeeper and we'd be perfectly fine. So
here's my pushback a little bit with Lorera.
Okay.
His primary position's been striker. When you talk to the Rising, they played him more that attacking mid in the center.
Well, look at what the Rising does, though. They don't.
Well, that's my question. Is it a big difference to go if you're playing, from the center of the field to one of the wings? And we know SAFC interchanges throughout the game.
That's
throughout
correct.
that here. So is that a big adjustment you think for him, or you think it's just because it's so fluid, probably not that big of a deal where you technically start?
It's more difficult to transition from the outside to the middle than from the middle to the outside. No matter what, you will see a lot of midfielders transition to become either wingers or wingbacks or fullbacks. That's a typical transition. So if you're going from the middle to the outside, that's not a problem. And the big description there is his one-on-one attacking is key, and that's exactly like you brought up. Seems like he's going to be like a Pirano replacement.
Well, he's 5'5", so he's
A
not got the
Pirano
height to
replacement.
play up top like that.
He's basically going to do the same thing with Jose's been doing when he
Right.
takes one-on-one. So now
it.
you're going to have two players in there that are going to beat you off the dribble and then get the ball to the forward. So, and I think that's what they want. They want to get some speed up and aggressiveness, up there to complement Patino and Dylan. Yep. And I think that's what he brings to the table for, coming into this season.
Yep.
So, and just
game
to kind
is
of
coming in hot there. Yep.
And I was just gonna let it go because I'm not a Cowboys fan, and
neither am I. So it is what it is.
I don't understand the play call. It was set up to fail, but that's a whole separate discussion. Players that we know that have departed San Antonio. Epps, of course, went to Rising. Cam Lindy went to the Switchbacks.
Lindley went to Switchbacks. Yep.
Ethan loaned to Richmond, signs with them, so
is permanently signed by Richmond, which is a great deal. I know a lot of people in Richmond are really happy with him. And when he got signed, they asked me, they kind of reached out, "Hey, what are we getting?" I'm like, a boss in the midfield is what you're getting. They're very happy with them, and now that he signed permanently, they are over the moon. So that's great for him and for them.
Cuello was part of the Tainer. Both ended up staying with their teams. So Cuello stayed with Sac Republic. Joaquin Varela, loaned to San Antonio, expired. He signed with the Club Atletico Gimnasia. Some team.
He signed with a first division side in Argentina, which is an incredible move for him, and I'm super happy for him and his family. That's so awesome. And it was the team that he signed for, if you don't know, is the team that
Maradona.
Diego Maradona coached for the last year of his life. So
nice.
Yeah.
Courtney Ford, it was a long shot. His loan expired. Surprisingly, he didn't re-sign with the Rapids. He signed with Sporting Kansas City.
Surprising, isn't it? But that's cool because that's his childhood team, which is really neat. But at the same time, there is a mass exodus from the Rapids. It's incredible. Are they the new Florida Marlins? Like, they have one really successful season.
It's Sam Kroenke.
Stan Kroenke is garbage. He's just garbage. Same level as Anthony Precourt garbage. Both of those individuals are not quality individuals for sure.
And then players whose status is still unknown. Chris Lima, Nathan, whose loan expired. DePlane, Shandon Hopino loan to San Antonio FC expired, was not renewed by the Sounders. Sam Gleadle, Connor Maloney, Jessier Kamiri, whose loan expired and was not renewed by Vancouver. So please re-sign him. Matt Cardoni, Axel Scholzberg, and to me, another one here that's kind of surprising, Carlos Mercado.
Yeah.
And, Jonathan Desless, Jordan Farr. He was an emergency loan to San Antonio FC. His contract was not renewed by Indy 11 as well here, but it's hard to consider him part of the team. I know he's part of the playoffs, but it was an emergency loan type situation.
I'm sorry. Did he not play more than 90 minutes? I'm not. I know 3 games, 3 very successful games. I'm not trying to knock Carlos Mercado in this, but he had more minutes than Carlos Mercado. Jordan Farr, 100% a part of this team last season.
I just meant it's like I understand for the playoffs.
Jordan Farr erasure by Harry over here. Jesus.
So if he doesn't sign, you can blame me.
I think
That's
Mercado. I think Mercado comes back. I think he's.
Yeah,
You're going to develop. You need a goalkeeper to develop, and
that's correct.
I could see them having three keepers. Just to give him some time to develop, because I think La Madrid sees something in him, and like I said, La Madrid is probably one of the best goalkeeping coaches in the USL, probably in the USL.
I agree. Yeah,
and
I think in the country in general.
Yeah, and I think holding on to Mercado, because I've seen him play in college. He's got a lot of vocal, and then he played really well in those 2 games against the Liga MX teams.
And in the second half of the Colorado Springs match, he played well.
So he's a project for like right now just to develop him, but eventually.
But is he really a project though?
Well, not a project, but he's more of a development player.
So go with me here, Harry. Typically, a goalkeeper will start their career around 25 to 30. That's when they start their career. Mercado is like 19. He's still a teenager. He might be 20 now, but he's still a couple years from actually starting his career. There's 2 things that I will include in this. Number 1, he will be under the tutelage of one La Madrid. That's for his career and his outlook. That's pretty priceless there. That's invaluable. Number 2, we will have U.S. Open Cup games this season. We are going to need a second goaltender, and for at least 1 game, if not 2 games in the rounds. He should come back and he should get plenty of playing time this season.
So I didn't play soccer, obviously. To me, though, and this is probably more directed to you, Rafa. You train with the team all year. You stepped up, and by everybody's accounts, did a good job when you got the opportunity. But when the biggest games came on, and unfortunately Matt got hurt, they brought in somebody else. Do you think that would impact the decision on coming back?
I don't think so, because I think he needs to understand that, he probably doesn't, like I said, he didn't have that experience like what Jordan had as far as playing in playoffs, because Jordan's been in the playoffs. So he had that experience, and Mercado doesn't have it just yet, but he will. I'm sure he learned a lot. Maybe those weeks with Jordan, he probably learned a lot, and it's for what to do, what not to do on the field when it comes to playoff time, as far as preparation and so forth. So, you didn't really want to throw him into the fire. I mean, let's say we did, we could have had different outcomes, and we could have been bounced out in the first round. Who's to say, it could have happened because of his inexperience. Mm-hmm. But, keeping him around is going to help eventually in the end, because he is dependable. As far as there were some flashes that he is dependable as a keeper, but there's still some things that he still need to tweak. But if you learn from somebody, to guide you from that has experience, it's going to help you in the end. And like if you look at Robert's kind of comment, some keepers play into their 40s, and look at Gigi Buffon, he's still playing well. But like you mentioned, most keepers don't get to play right away until about 25, 26, unless you're like a really dynamite keeper. It's, and which is rare to find, unless you're.
And I guess that's what probably has me a little bit, with seeing, like and I know they're MLS2 goalies, along those lines, but, what's the goalkeeper from Real Monarchs that was with that chose the Mexico? David Ochoa, for example. He was a young guy, that got the time, proved it, ended up winning a title through there. So I'm not comparing Mercado to David Ochoa, who's by all counts a world-class goaltender even at that age, although I think Mercado has talent. To me, I think with USL and with where we're at here, the younger you are, if you can get that experience, and I know you guys mentioned, hey, they can play till their 40s, along those lines. But to me, if you can get that option, that's the only reason why I felt bad for Mercado. And to me, I wrestled and played football. If I would, and I know they're completely different sports, but in my mind frame, if I would have put in that effort and then the team brought in somebody else, for me personally, it would have rubbed me the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, but I'm not a soccer player. I don't have that background, and I know goalkeepers are, is a completely different mindset.
Well, it's like with the case with the Real Monarchs. They have that 16-year-old goalkeeper, but he's been with that system and that team for quite a time, so that's why they were allowed to put him in. But Carlos, this was his rookie year, so he's still learning the SAFC system under La Madrid. And like I said, I've taken notes from La Madrid as far as working with my keepers, because I like using a lot of his stuff. It takes a while to learn his technique, and I know Madrid works a lot on technique, especially with the hands. So Carlos probably still learning that, but eventually, I think the goal he's going to end up, whether he stays here or goes somewhere else, he's going to end up becoming a starting goalkeeper like around like 25, 26. Or unless some team want to throw him into the fire, then you'll see that. But he's under good hands right now, and he just has to be patient. But he's going to get, like I said, he's going to get his chance sooner or later. And who's to say, maybe let's say we do get a keeper, he goes down, I'm sure Mercado is going to be ready to go. And I think they'll have the trust in him to play in those games.
Here's a question for both of you. If they brought Mercado back, would you be comfortable with him as the number one? Or do you think that they have to bring in a Jordan Farr or somebody like that?
You need to bring in a proven keeper. Mm-hmm. If you're a serious team, you need to bring in a proven keeper.
Yeah, this league, you have to have a proven keeper. You can't really, bring in someone that doesn't have the experience just yet. But like I said, playing on those friendly games and playing, those Open Cup games is going to help them eventually get that experience. But also, like I said, he's going to learn. Whoever's the starting keeper, he's going to learn from them, and that's going to help him in the long run. And that's what every goalkeeper, from the young ones to the older ones, you're going to learn a lot from the older guy, and it's just going to make you better.
And here, so on the players that's unknown for, is there anybody that you hope to still see back, or that you think they'll be back? I'm assuming Connor Maloney, Kamiri are probably the top two, I would guess, besides Mercado, because we talked about Mercado through here. But I don't believe Galito's coming back. I don't believe Hopino's coming back. I don't believe DePlane's coming back. And I don't think Axel Schulberg is coming back here. So do you think Maloney or Kamiri out of that remaining list outside of Nathan is coming? Nathan and Lima?
I think Kamiri, I think he's a good shot at coming back, because he can anchor that. He's going to – Tanner had some great chemistry back there. They were just, wonderful, defending, and that changed – the dynamics of our team. So having on there, he brings height, he brings strength, he's aggressive, and he's fast too. So, and then, unless some other team he's undergoing with some other team, but hopefully we do win him back, and hopefully Maloney does come back. He's got experience. He had a down year last year because of the injury, but he came back, and hopefully, like I said, he'll bounce. He should be 100% ready to go if he is signed back. So, he's going to bring experience to our team and help the newer guys like Lorera and all that, just get adjusted to the system. So hopefully we do bring out those two, because as chemistry is the key, keeping as much of the parts of last year's team together, and then just adding a little compliments to make the team a lot better.
Royce, any thoughts on who you'd bring back out of the still unknown status?
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Kamiri and Maloney are the two top, as well as Jordan Farr. I would really like to see Jordan Farr back. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I would like to see Cardoni back, but we have to see about his health. That's the big thing. Nobody knows about his health. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's back. That'd be great. And it would be amazing to have 3 keepers on the roster, so we can have Farr, Cardoni, and Mercado. That'd be great. Because the last time we had 3 goalkeepers on the roster, anybody know? That was 2017 when and that was, you had Lee Johnston, you had Diego, and you had Cardoni. So, and Cardoni got hurt. Diego showed out. went to the playoffs and made a good run in 2017. So
And
I think
Lee
three
Johnston
keepers-
was with Detroit City last year.
Yeah. So that'd be great to have that trifecta, that trilogy, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, obviously Kamari Maloney would be great. You want to see Ollie right back. He showed a lot of potential. He showed a lot of rookie mistakes last season. The game kind of seemed to be a little too fast with a couple red cards that he had. But that comes with game experience. He just needs some game experience at this level. But he also had a couple, he had a few assists, didn't he? A few assists to Dylan.
Yes.
He had a really nice cross that went in for a goal at New Mexico. So he showed a lot of really good potential to be a very, very good player in this league. And if not a league above, he just needs some game time. That's the big thing. So I'd love to see Ollie back. Matthew DePlane was very dependable as a defender. I would love to see him back. And he's very versatile. We saw him outside a lot. We saw him as a center back a lot. Be great to have Matthew back. We'll see where his journey takes him, but that'd be amazing to have him back as well. Hoppy Al, shout out to Shandon. I know he's a new dad, so he's been dealing with that. So we'll see where he ends up. Schuberg, same thing, also a new dad. So we'll see where he ends up. Mercado, obviously, I do want him back to be that
Second goalkeeper,
that guy in the wings, that second or third goalkeeper. I would love to see him back. He's showed a lot of potential, and I was very happy with him. Like I said, in the second half of that Colorado Springs game, as well as the two Liga MX matches. Like you said, Gleedle, I'm not sure if he's coming back. It'd be great to have him back. He really looked good with the team. I'm not sure if he's coming back as well. And I guess that kind of lands at everybody that we're not sure about. So a few, yes, a few we know that probably aren't. But I think we need to fill out this defense. So I think that's what they're looking at. Kamiri had a summer tournament in Qatar. So a very successful summer tournament in Qatar. So we'll see what comes of that. We know Nathan. He has been prominently hyped up by the Coritiba social media pages as kind of their next big striker, and a lot of fans over there in Brazil are super excited about his future, considering how successful his season was last season here at San Antonio. So that's great to see. I'm happy he's back home. He probably want to play in front of his family and his friends and everything, and that's what he's going to get to do. So it's awesome for him. So I don't see Nathan coming back. Obviously, Epps is under contract, Ford's under contract, Lindley, Cuello, and Varela, they're all under contract with other people. So yeah, that's what it is.
So Matt asked this, and this was going to be a topic as well. We'll start with the kick guys. We'll start with you, Rafa. How do we feel about San Antonio FC signing an apparel deal with Puma? What was supposed to be a home kit now is a home and away kit for this year, because Edson is like, hey, this probably means we can't, just do the home kit with Puma and keep the away kit with Nike. And he's like, yeah, no, that won't fly. So this year we will be getting a home and away kit, and then possibly, a third kit as well if they do decide to go forward with that. So thoughts on teaming with Puma? We'll start with you, Rafa.
So anybody out there, if you're gonna buy jersey, make sure if you're gonna buy Puma jerseys, make sure you buy 2 sizes larger.
2 sizes up. That's correct. 2 sizes up Puma.
Because they're just too tight. I can remember when I coached with Emed with the last club I team, we had Puma jerseys. I just didn't like them. They were just too tight, and that's we ended up switching to Adidas. Because I like Adidas better. They're just less loose, and I think they have better jerseys. But it did say multi-year deal, so maybe it's just a 2-year deal or just a 3-year. Maybe let's just
hold on. Let's see how it goes. Let's see. Let's not jump the gun. I will say, ironically, I'm not sure if y'all know the history of Adidas and Puma, but they were started by bickering brothers. Adidas was the first company, and his brother didn't like how he was doing things, so he started his own company, and that's Adidas and Puma. So there you go, a sibling rivalry.
Is it a step up or step down from Nike?
Well, Puma's a brand that a lot of teams have. A lot of teams do have. Like, well, AC Milan has Puma. Marseille Olympique.
Very USL-ish.
Manchester
We'll
United.
say that.
Manchester
Or
United.
not United. City.
Man
I'm sorry.
City.
City
Yeah,
has.
Sorry
Puma.
for all those Red Devil fans.
Yeah, so Borussia Dortmund, AC
yeah.
Milan, Valencia, and Man City all well-known brands do sport Puma. I know I'm speaking with Edson, and he's a kid. I'm not a kit guy. Obviously I'm a big guy, so and kits don't come in my size. But he mentioned with Puma, he was excited when they originally came on because, especially compared to Nike, their templates has a little bit more variety, he said. But then, of course, there's 3 or 4 teams last year that, from USL that moved over to Puma, and they all had the honeycomb, kit through there. And I know, Rafa pointed out that Loyal signed with, I forget.
Charlie.
With Charlie, which is a Liga
Charlie,
MX company. Or a uniform provider for Liga MX, not a Liga MX company. So to me, if you're talking about templates, because let's be honest, they're not, we're not Manchester City where, we can say, hey, do this. Most likely it's going to be, hey, picking from a catalog of the templates. How do you feel like the templates, with Puma compares to, Nike or, Adidas or what's the other one? Umbro, I think is the.
There's Umbro. There's whatever. There's a company that El Paso Locomotive use.
Joma, Joma.
There you go. That one. Yeah.
But I think El Paso switched as well this year.
They're still Adidas.
Is El Paso Adidas? What I would say about this, and this is from a consumer point of view, this is from a business point of view from San Antonio FC. Nike is a lot of times difficult to get product out. They would rather drop ship stuff, which basically means ship to order. Sometimes it's tough to get their stuff. It's expensive. Puma is not like that. Puma, it's going to be easier to get stuff. You're going to get more of it, which is good for us as consumers because there's going to be more variety of stuff and it's going to be easier to get. If I'll give an example. If you notice JCPenney, if you have been in a JCPenney's lately, they don't have any Nike stuff. They barely have any Adidas stuff now. They have a lot of Puma stuff because it's easy to get. There's a lot of variety. So I think it's good for the club and it's good for the fans as well because I think there's going to be a lot more stuff available. And if you noticed, a lot of San Antonio FC gear it wasn't just Nike anymore. They started looking at other companies, and that's a big reason why is just the Nike stuff. There just wasn't a lot available. So got to find somebody else. That was kind of the writing on the wall. The Fiesta, like the warm-up kits weren't Nike. They started going away from Nike. I have a couple. I don't know what the company is, but like the Fiesta warm-up top, the military warm-up top. Right, exactly.
The Pride Night
wasn't Nike. So that's what I'm saying. Those were a different company. And that was kind of the writing on the wall is we can't get you to make these special jerseys. We're gonna have to go with somebody else, dude. So, and Puma, if you look at their lineup, their third kits and stuff, crazy cool. I like them. So I think it's a good step.
Robert asked this question here. We'll go with you, Rafa. Is Puma considering a crop top SAFC kit? Asking for a Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some of the jerseys. I don't know the one you showed Harry Bone, the Palmeiras. I mean, that would be cool if it's a black or red jersey. So
that brings up an interesting point. Do you keep the checkers?
I would like to. I mean, that'd be cool.
Because it's an identity for SAFC.
I just don't want to look like AC Milan. and I'm hoping we don't end up doing something similar to that. Even though the jersey is nice under Puma, the one worst would be Chivas. I hate the Chivas Puma jersey. Hopefully they don't do that one, but
That's because they're Chivas and you don't like Chivas in general. So yeah, you're an America fan.
The Palmeiras one is nice. There was a couple. Who was the other one? Well, a lot of the African teams, national teams, have Puma jerseys. I know like Senegal had really nice jersey. I think Cameroon. Remember the ones with the real type with the cutoff on the sleeves? Maybe they'll go to that one because it's so hot down here in the summer. They'll play with that one. I mean, they've had some nice jerseys. From maybe they'll put a screenshot of the Gato Blanco instead of like the elephant on the Senegal one. That'd be something cool to have. But like I said, I'm just curious how this is gonna work out, especially you do have to wear, like I said, 2 sizes bigger on the jerseys, and I'm sure there's going to be some complaints about it. We'll see how.
Well, Chris Walker, who from New Mexico, who's done kits professionally, he mentioned for big guys, it's that it's they don't do a 2X. I think the biggest size that they do is 1X along those lines. So to me, if you're a big guy, it's motivation to lose that 15 pounds or whatever that it is.
We are in San Antonio, so they should have thought about that.
It's gotta get on that treadmill, man. Gotta get on.
All
that
right,
diet.
so
I will say real quick. What I will say about kits. Let me finish it out real fast. The cool ones that Pumas that I would like to see SAFC kind of have their twist on. Would be Palmeiras, which Rafa brought up. Fenerbahce is cool. They have the stripes. The one that I like a lot, though, and I would like to see this, is Crystal Palace. Instead, so switch out the blue for black and switch out the yellow for white. I think that would be incredible.
Or even silver.
Amazing. Or even silver. That would be great.
I can see that second one into the Fiesta color one, like the white with the pink and
that would be dumb
like
awesome.
With the Spurs Fiesta jersey.
That would be a boom, 15 out of 10 home run.
I think that's going to be probably the third jersey.
That'd be cool.
The fourth jersey, the fourth home jersey, the second alternative home jersey or something.
Mm-hmm.
So the other big news, we knew Detroit City's coming to town, and since that's been announced, Detroit City has done something that RGV hasn't still, and announced to players returning. 2 players of interest here locally, Maxi Rodriguez and Pato, who played at St. Mary's. Both are back and well deserved to be back with Detroit City FC. So we knew on the 12th, San Antonio opens at home against Detroit City. We knew that the next match was the opening match for Los Dos LA Galaxy 2. Then they finished a Sunday match with RGV on the 27th. Then we get Phoenix that comes to town on the 2nd of April. And then away at OC, home against El Paso. Away against New Mexico United on the 23rd, which I'm hopefully planning on going to. And then home against Monterey Bay Union. I'm still going to call them Monterey Bay, not Union, for that here. May on the road, Phoenix. The following week at Miami, home against the Switchbacks. Away for the second time at RGV. RGV is the one opponent that we have that's 3 opponents who play 3 times. June, we do the Northern California trip on the 4th in Sac Republic, who, if you haven't been paying attention, they're loading up. Away against the Monterey Bay, home against Oakland Roots for the first time. Away on a Friday match against the Switchbacks, which the Switchbacks are loading up as well for this year. A quick turnaround to Tuesday, a home match against the East in Tulsa. an exciting one right before the 4th of July, second against Charleston Battery, one of the historically veteran teams of USL Lower Division. They have their breaks, which there'll probably be some summer friendlies most likely. Come back to the 16th of July, play Atlanta United 2, away at Locomotive, away at Vegas. So you figure that's probably going to be away track. Come home and play Los Dos. In August, they kick off with Loyal at San Diego, the Fighting Land Donovans playoff rematch. Home against Loudoun United, home against Las Vegas, home against RGV. And then they finish up in an old NASL match against ND11. September, they go out to Oakland, come back and play San Diego, New Mexico, and Sac Republic. October, they go to Pittsburgh for the first time. They go to Birmingham for the first time. And they finish at home with the champs who knocked us out of the playoffs and Orange County. So we'll start with, I'll give you my thoughts. I'll go first here. They better be in a good position to make the playoffs, because September schedule and October, you're talking about Loyal, New Mexico, Sac Republic, Pittsburgh, Birmingham, and Orange County probably are going to be very tough matches. And I know 4 of them are at home along those lines, but I don't want to have to be needing points from those matches, just because I do think those teams are quality teams. First half of the season, I think, Jonathan mentioned that we're away majority compared to the second half of the season, which I think is good for San Antonio FC. I'd rather play Detroit City early than later, because I think there is an adjustment to go from NISA to USL Championship. I think we saw that with Oakland Roots last year. So I'm excited that, number one, that they're coming here. Number two, that it's very early in the season, because I do think that is an advantage. I do think it's interesting that the 3 matches that San Antonio gets is against RGV. 2 are away. And I know it's kind of hard to say this, but the top talent that RGV had has left. They haven't announced anybody in. They haven't announced anybody leaving. We know they're going to have a roster. I don't know if it's going to be the same quality as last year at this point here. I know their fan base is a little bit frustrated at this point. But to me, the schedule itself, it's, compared to the last couple of years, you're going to see new teams. You're not going to see a lot of the same teams at all outside of, we're not going to see anybody different, here in San Antonio, because there's no duplicates that come to Toyota Field. So, Royce, your thoughts on the schedule and how it shapes up?
Yeah, man, that September, October is a bit of a gauntlet, but at the same time, at least we have a week between each match. There's no crazy 3-day turnaround. The last 3-day turnaround we have is there in the kind of the beginning of August, with Loudoun and Vegas at home, which is kind of a good thing, blessing in disguise. We'll see. It'll be interesting. I like the variety. I like that they're going away from kind of the compartmentalization that they've had the last couple of
the divisions, yeah,
right, of seasons that they've kind of had to do according to COVID and everything. But man, this is cool. A lot of new teams coming to San Antonio with Detroit, Monterey, Oakland hasn't been here yet. Atlanta too, Charleston, Atlanta. Loudoun. Yeah, man, it's cool. We'll see how it goes. It's very close to kind of a European schedule where you play everybody home and away. I like that a lot. I like that setup. And it's kind of like, spoiler alert, it's kind of like they're looking at to be more of a European type league instead of following in the footsteps of the cash grab league in MLS. So I like it. It's cool. It's a tough schedule for sure. There are a few areas where you definitely need wins. Loudoun, Vegas, those are obviously need wins. Atlanta too. Monterey, probably need to beat Oakland. Detroit. But there's also some really tough matches in there as well. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm excited about it. It's a cool schedule, and it's not more of the same. It's very different, and I like it. Looks fun. Let's do it.
Rafa, any thoughts on the schedule?
Like I said, just September, October is going to be brutal. I think early on, I think we need to get ahead, get some points, have a good, be at least in the top 3 because, at least going into those last 2 months, if we're in the top 3, we should be in good shape to at least clinch, like I said, the playoffs. We definitely have to, like I said, Detroit, Monterey, Oakland, Tulsa, Loudoun, Las Vegas. You got to definitely win those games at home. Those are must wins. We can't drop points to them. And then that week in May, going from the West Coast and then back to the East Coast for back to back versus Phoenix and Miami. That's a little rough there because, like I said, going one coast to the other, jet lag, and then you have to follow up with switchbacks, which they're loading up on offense, but I don't know. Defense does wins championships, and you can tell that the OC.
They brought in some defensive players now, so and I know it's on paper here. I can tell you that Sacramento looks good. San Diego's brought in some talent. Colorado Springs is going to be strong. New Mexico got Nico Brett to kind of help with their offense.
There's 3 teams that have really loaded up, and that's Sac Republic, that's Colorado Springs, and that's New Mexico. Those 3 are open in the piggy
along
bank.
with Rising. I think Rising's still
Rising isn't improving. They're just there. They've always been there.
You
They're
still haven't
top of
signed
the class.
Asante, right?
Asante is supposedly leaving.
Asante's a free.
So we'll see how that goes. He's supposedly a free agent. I'm sure he has a lot of people. I'm sure San Antonio FC's lined up and given his agent a call to see how much he's going to cost.
He can kind of tip the scale as far as the little bounce to certain teams as far as taking them to the next step. As far as, like, for example, let's say if he goes to San Diego, he's going to help him get to the next step.
That's correct.
Even like Miami or even let's say Louisville, or Tampa. So, he's gonna tip the balance of which those teams are gonna really want to make that push to get into that championship game.
Yeah, I think I 100% think Asante would improve San Antonio FC, and how he would improve is that you would have Gallegos, you would have Lorera, and you would have Asante, and they would just wreak havoc, just switching around, and you don't know where one is or one's going, and that would be.
You're only going with one forward up top with Patino then?
That's how it's going to be in general. I mean, it's going to be.
You don't think they're doing 2?
No.
You don't. Well, you don't think they're going to be doing Patino and
Dylan?
No, not Dylan.
Elliot Collier, like I said, is a midfielder. He's a midfielder.
Right, but
he's not
He's sticking to that 3-5.
Well, he's listed as a forward. He's listed as a forward.
Right. He is going to connect the midfield to the forward core. He's going to be Nathan.
That's why I'm saying 2 forwards up top, because Nathan was listed as a forward, but he was the one that was that connection piece.
Right. That's what Collier would do, and that's what Asante would do. But at the same time, Asante could switch with Lorera. He can switch. It would be a lot similar to last season, except it would be a lot more switching where you would see, Asante start in the middle. He'd go to the right. Gallegos would come up in the middle, and then you see Lorera go. And it would just be havoc because the defense wouldn't know who to mark. They wouldn't know who to look at. And that's what I'm saying. It would obviously he would improve the club. He is a top player in this league, and to have him with that forward core, good Lord, that'd be ridiculous. But like you said, it's going to be tough to sign him because he is going to be that player that brings another team to that level. teams that are going to be looking for him. You made a good point with San Diego. They really need some attack. Last season, that was their issue, was attack.
Could you imagine if he went to San Diego? Oh my God.
I could definitely imagine
Imagine
that.
if he went
Well, no, I'm talking about
Colorado.
the reaction from Rising fans.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. Where I really see him going, I could really see him going to Indy 11 and them throwing the bank at him to be their one big splash offseason signing. Same thing. Miami FC is going to be a little difficult because they do have. I think size is kind of their game. They're really trying to compete with Louisville, and Louisville's game is size. Same thing with Rowdy.
Tampa,
So I'm not
Tampa
sure.
Maybe another option. If he's going to want to win, it's going to be Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure
I don't
Tampa
think he's
would
going
be.
to Tampa.
I don't think it would go because teams like Tampa and Louisville and San Antonio and Rising, they're not going to pay him as much because those are like destination teams. The teams that are going to break open the piggy bank to make him their one big signing, like New Mexico did for Nico Brett, that was their one big signing. They're going to overpay for him, and that's kind of probably what he's looking for. So,
you know who I'd love to see where he would go to? Would be Detroit City.
USL League One. Yeah, I would love to see him there too. Yeah.
Well, I'd love for him to get a shot in MLS. I've got a buddy that's trying to get him to go over to like League One or Championship over in England.
Yeah.
Because
and it's the January window's open.
With
yeah.
him is his age because he's on the later side
Right.
of 20s. So that's
Imagine him going to Colorado with Haji Bering.
Colorado doesn't have any more space for offensive players at this point, I don't think. Matt, to answer your question, the first for Copa Tejas, the first match, San Antonio RGV match is not counted. And that's based on the how Copa Tejas rules are set up here. So the Copa Tejas will take the second RGV San Antonio match in RGV and ours, and then of course with El Paso. So that's how Copa Tejas is going to be. It's only going to be because there's only 3 teams this year because the Bold are taking a break and relocating along those lines here for that here.
So what would happen if all teams split home and home? Who wins it?
Goes by goal difference.
Goal differential.
Yeah, and there's other.
We're all trying
there's
to
other tiebreakers.
Flip a coin like in Friday Night Lights.
I think
Right.
one of those is through there, but
So real quick, Solomon Asante is 31, so yeah, he's kind of getting up there, and he's listed at 5'2". 5'2".
I just don't know.
Take that for what you want to look into it, but yeah, but he's still one of the better players in this league, even at 31. So yep.
Yeah, he's a proven, and I think he would be. To me, he'd be like a good Rafa Castillo, where you bring on, and that, because his legs aren't the same, but you bring him on in that second half, and especially
Right.
with free kicks, and he's still got that speed where he could be a difference maker, when it comes to crunch time.
Right.
All right, so the last subject that we had here, if you guys still want to do it, was the FIFA Pro Best 11 here. For that here, let me see here. So for where's that other page here? I had one over here. Where did it go? So I think for the women's, what was interesting is, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but Alexa Putellas won the Best Women's Player of the Year for 2021. Unfortunately, she's not listed in the World 11 for that here, so I'm not sure how that happens. Alex Morgan and Kari Lloyd made it from the United States. Marta, are the big names on here. Any thoughts on the women's team here? I don't, just be honest with you, I don't follow a lot of the foreign women's leagues here, so I don't have a great insight on what a lot of these ladies are doing.
I think most of them come from the elite teams, like from the French league and the Liga.
Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona.
Well, Leon is probably the best in the world. A lot of English teams are on the up. I mean, you see Bronze there, you see Bright there. Those are English players, and they're some of the best defenders. Surprised to see Carly Lloyd on her retirement year. She, didn't really have that great of a year, but at the same time, it's the Leo Messi and Ronaldo effect. She is just one of the greats. Kind of same thing in Marta. She's
immortal.
immortal. Yeah, that's the exact word I wanted. She's freaking immortal. And then Alex Morgan there, you see, obviously one of the greats. But yeah, much like the men's list, all of those are very debatable. They're big names, but they're still very debatable in what they're doing now. Kind of like the back line for the men's. What in the crap is that? I don't even see. Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Continue.
So, because I know, I know we're probably more familiar with the men's side than the women's side. Number one, you can catch it a lot more. It's easier to catch the game on the men's side at this point than the women's game at this point here. Your thought on Ronaldo and Messi making it? To be honest, is it just a career thing that, if they're still playing, they're going to make the list now?
You know who got snubbed there? Who should be there?
Mbappe?
Nope. Another French guy,
dude. Yeah,
Karim Benzema.
Yeah, Benzema. Yeah,
I think he should be on the top World 11, and he had a great season this past year. He's playing lights out right now.
Well, the three forwards that should be there are Lewandowski, or Haaland, and it's Benzema. That's pretty obvious where the three are. Yeah, Leo Messi's not really having a great year. He's not even the best player on his team. That's either Neymar snubbed. And Neymar and Mbappe should be there more than Leo Messi should be there. Ronaldo is, I don't even know if he's the best player on Man United, and that's not even a good Man United team.
He is carrying them a little bit.
Yes, but no. Yes, but no.
League, right? He's carried them in Champions League.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, he's super toxic in that locker room, and it's real difficult to set a game plan because he's questioning everything. But that's hearsay. You never know about that. I will say the three in the midfield definitely deserve to be there. Kevin De Bruyne, Jorginho, and Conte. Jorginho and Conte obviously won the Champions League with Chelsea. And Kevin De Bruyne is probably the best midfielder in the world for the last few seasons. Like I said, the back line, what are we doing here? Ruben Dias, really? Ruben Dias? Sure. Bonucci? Leonardo Bonucci? Even over Chiellini on the same team next to him? What are we doing? David Alaba? What are we doing? Stupid, dumb. And then
Alaba did have a good season with Austria, and he's doing well with Real Madrid. He's actually stepping it up.
He's fine. No, he's fine. He's fine.
But I think there's other guys.
David Alaba was excess to need for Bayern Munich, and they sold him on. Dude, no. Not
he did get the Super Copa this Sunday, so.
Because the Super Copa is a big deal. It's such a big deal that it was in Saudi Arabia. Give me a break. And then Donnarumma, sure. Why not? I think it should be Mani Neuer. Mani Neuer is probably there, but they need to give it to somebody else. So sure, Donnarumma. I know he's still the up-and-comer, even though he's almost 30 years old. He's still the young up-and-comer. So,
well, that's young. We had that discussion earlier that, goalies at 30 are just starting to break in.
Right. But it feels like Mani Neuer is
another one. He could have been considered as well.
I think it should have been. I will always say that Keylor Navas, as long as he's still playing, is probably the best goalkeeper in the world, but he's underrated because he's Costa Rican. But it probably should have been French goalkeeper, help me out. Somebody. Who's the French starter? Yeah, I know. Who's the French starter? Come on. Oh man,
Loris.
Yeah, Hugo Lloris is probably the best goalkeeper in the world, and he has been for a few seasons. But at the same time, you even had Edouard Mendy win the damn Champions League. If you're just gonna do Champions League, there you go. So, Who knows, man? I laugh at that back line, and I laugh at Leo Messi and Ronaldo even being on there because the greatest of all time is Leo Messi and Ronaldo. I mean, that's it. They've been amazing,
they
but
created
now
an award for Ronaldo this year just because he didn't.
that's correct. That's exactly what they
have
did.
any.
Broke the record.
That's exactly what they did. They had to make an award for him so we didn't cry or whatever is going to happen. And then Leo Messi gets the Ballon d'Or, which sure, whatever, dude. And then Asante over Linus. Who's taller or who's shorter? That
They're
shouldn't
about the same size.
tall shouldn't even be related to those two. It should be who is shorter. And I don't know.
Hey, but Diego Linus is playing in Real Betis, and
is he playing though, or is he just suiting up?
Just a cup games? But he should be playing. I think he made a mistake going to. I think he should have gone into the Dutch league instead of going to the league.
I think so too. It's been really weird with North American players transferring to Portugal lately because it doesn't seem like they've really Porto have really underutilized Tecatito, which I don't know if he's on the decline.
No, he's actually now in Italy now. No, he's at Sevilla now, actually.
Oh, he's with Sevilla. Well, good for him because that's a really good transfer for him because they stopped playing him at Porto.
Lopetegui wanted him really bad, so
right. Same with Reggie Cannon. Reggie Cannon could not get a start to save his life at Boavista. And then they starting him as a center back, and he's dominating as a center back. And they're doing really well in the league, which is stupid that they wouldn't start him, and then they finally do. And oh yeah, he's good. Let's start him. And then like you said, Diego Linus is just having all sorts of issues trying to get in the lineup at Real Betis. So
weird, man. Before we do final thoughts, the transfer window. Anything that's kind of stood out to you for the first 18 days at this point here?
Junior Fleming's being transferred for almost $1 million.
500,000.
Yeah, that's nuts. Not even the best player in the USL
to a League Two.
Yeah,
French League Two. That's in position to go up to.
It's Ligue 2. So yeah, but
I'm American,
crazy, man.
buddy, I'm sorry.
The Farmers League 2.
Farmers League, get the hell out of here. That's it's such a dumb sentiment. The French League is fine. There's a lot of really good players in there.
But it's not the USL.
It's Ligue 1 is better than the USL Championship. I mean, that's not Ligue 1 is better than MLS. That's not even controversial. That's very obvious. But yeah, I mean, that was a really big transfer. Nico Brett going over to New Mexico is pretty big. That's pretty big for Birmingham. That's a big loss for them.
What about Pepe going to Augsburg?
Pepe going to Augsburg. That was interesting because that was it was 18 million euros.
Something like that, yeah.
That was a few things. I know the rumor was that he was going to Wolfsburg and that was pretty much complete. And then at the very last minute, Augsburg came back. Augsburg is a team that, how do I say this? They're a small team that people want in the second division. People want bigger teams like Hamburg. Hamburg is Germany's second city, and they're in the second division because they just weren't good. Same thing with Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen's a very big team, a lot bigger than Augsburg. But Augsburg is in the Bundesliga because they've been pretty successful with what they have. They don't spend a lot of money, and they're trying to make a big splash in the U.S. market. Well, they did it. Good job. They did it. At the same time, Augsburg was willing to sign a lot more, put a lot more sign-on clause in Pepe's contract to FC Dallas. So when they sign him on, FC Dallas will get a good percentage of that, which would be really good for them, which Wolfsburg was not willing to do. And at the same time, Wolfsburg's a really big team. So the chances of Pepe being transferred for a profit were very slim if he went to Wolfsburg. Now, if he goes to Augsburg and he shows out like he has his first two games, he's looked really good with them. He's probably going to get signed on by a bigger team in a couple years. Yeah, it's great, and he looks good over there
You
too.
can see him going to Dortmund or even, I mean, even like him going to Ajax too can also kind of bridge to get also to a better
Right.
club.
Right. Dude, we'll see. He looks really good though. And he's kind of playing almost as that false nine, coming back and defending a lot, and really getting involved in the combination with the midfield and the forward core, which, I mean, Augsburg is not a very good team. But at the same time, they're not in the relegation spots. They're doing pretty well. Let's see. More transfers. The rumor has been forever that Weston McKennie's going to go to Tottenham, and all he's done is score for Juventus. So we'll see where Weston ends up. Like you said, there's still a whole 2 or 3 weeks of the transfer window. Who else has been transferred in January?
I've been keeping up with the Newcastle, so I know they went and signed the.
They brought in Kieran Tierney,
and then they signed Bernie Striker.
Wood.
Striker Wood.
Hashtag
and that was
Newcastle
just
has
more
Wood.
of-
Yeah, saw that.
Just more of, hey, 25 million, we'll take your best striker, weaken you. Hopefully it strengthens us because they didn't have any strikers. So I'm
No,
invested
they
in
had
the
Joe Linton.
Newcastle.
Newcastle had Joe Linton, yeah, but Joe Linton. He
I
was
guess
supposed to
their
be
main striker's hurt though.
Joe Linton was supposed to be like their savior the last like 4 or 5 years, and he just never really came to fruition. So they've needed a good striker. And Newcastle obviously got bought by a Saudi Arabian conglomerate.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of money. They're cash.
They're gonna stay up. I know
cash
it doesn't look good, but they
Mhm.
will
We'll see.
get the players to stay up, I believe.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll see what other transfers they make.
Any thoughts on
Everton has
cancellations?
made a big transfer by firing their coach because Rafa Benitez was terrible, and that was a garbage signing, and everybody knew it, and it was bad.
Except the owners.
Yeah,
the owners are the one that pushed it.
because the owners are dumb. Yeah, it's just terrible, man. Just garbage. And they had a world-class left back that the coach pushed out of the team. And they're going to sell on the left back for like 67 million euros, Aston Villa. And then they're going to fire the coach, which is the most Everton move ever. Is you pick one or the other. No, we'll get rid of both. Stupid, dumb. But there's a good transfer. So Aston Villa got Lucas Digne, who we're talking about, and they got Coutinho in, which is really good.
And he
really good for them.
his first week
Is
with
Everton on the
goal and assist.
regulation?
No, they're not in relegation yet. They're not in the zone.
Everton, they're close. They're only at
They're
19
close.
points.
No, they're close. But they're not there. They're not there right now. I think they're in 16th.
Yeah, they're in
16th,
16th.
15th
So
or 16th place.
There's
So,
a gap that they have. I think it's between
Yeah.
Watford, Norwich, Newcastle, and Burnley. Burnley's the one that I know they're in last, but they've only played 17 games.
yeah.
Where
Norwich is
played
going down.
21.
Norwich is going down. They're bad. They're just generally bad.
Question is can Newcastle keep above Burnley, and can they
get
jump
up?
Watford? That's the question.
Continuing with my Everton rant. So they're going to have as their interim coach, club legend Duncan Ferguson, who's amazing. So he's going to coach a few games. The coaches they're interviewing are even more like face palmy than Rafa Benitez. They're interviewing Wayne Rooney. Why? They're interviewing Wayne Rooney and Frank Lampard.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. It's absolute garbage. That's who they're
Have you
interviewing.
not seen what he's doing at Derby or Derby County?
Bad. Terrible. Yeah.
You understand why they're so bad, right? Because they have a negative 21-point deduction.
Yeah.
If not, they would be third in the league.
Okay, fair.
So if you're looking at the standings, they look horrible.
Okay.
But if you actually look at the performance,
Okay.
he's doing well. Plus, Derby's got, Derby, they've got bigger issues where they're being sued by 2 other teams because of the financial fair play issue.
Yikes.
Just there. If I'm Rooney and I get the opportunity to go to Everton,
No, he is outright said if they offer me the job, I'm taking the fucking job. But They're hiring Rooney, or they're interviewing Rooney, interviewing Lampard.
And then the
But
other one
what I
was
mean,
the old
what
Chelsea
I mean,
coach.
Nuno is that's
No, he
not
used to
Chelsea.
play with
He's
Lampard.
still available too.
He's available,
Lampard.
and yeah, Frank Lampard. That's what I said. Rooney and Lampard. Nuno, who was the former Wolves and Tottenham coach, he's also in the running. But there's 3 coaches, including Nuno. I guess that was a giveaway. But there's 3 coaches that are top of the line coaches. You know what? Let's even discount Nuno. There's 3 coaches right now that are available that I don't know why nobody's looking at. That's Valverde, the former Barcelona coach. Available, would be a great signing. There's Niko Kovac, former Bayern Munich, who didn't do too well, but he is a very good German coach. And Lucien Favre, who is the former Borussia Dortmund coach. All available right now. I will throw in Jesse Marsh is available right now. He's a pretty
Sitting on
good
the Man U
motivating
bench,
coach
right?
right now. So there's a lot of really good coaches. And to try to limit yourself by looking at Rooney and Lampard, what the crap are you doing, Everton? I'm a fan, and it hurts. And it's yeah, exactly. That's
The reason why they're doing it
that
is because
sucks.
they're a shit show up top, though. That's my understanding. Because I've started following a little bit on the Sky Sports, a little bit here. I guess Everton up at the top, so the board and
Yeah,
and
no, the
ownership-
board's awful. I thought you meant up top like Ford. I'm like,
No.
yeah,
I'm talking about up top. and
Dominic
upper
Calvert-Lewin's
management.
one of the best forwards, but he's been hurt for the last 6 months. Yeah, no, their board is trash. Yeah, they're not good. What they're also doing, what the board is doing, what they've needed to do. So what the board has been doing for the last 5 seasons, and they're super in debt because they've signed a lot of really stupid players they had no business signing, like the player that should not be named because he is currently awaiting trial for child rape. And you can look that up. That is an Icelandic top person that I'm not going to mention their name because they don't need to have their name mentioned. They've signed players like that had no business being still in the Premier League. They've signed a lot of Theo Walcott. Why do you sign Theo Walcott? He wasn't good for Arsenal. Why the hell do you sign him? They signed Iwobi, former Arsenal, not a good player. Like they've had a lot of signings where it's like, what are you doing? And that's their board. But what the board is finally doing, they kind of Jerry Jones'd it where they went out for the names and yeah. But what they're doing now, they're finally hiring a technical director. And they're kind of taking things out of the board's hands and they're giving everything to that technical director. Hopefully they sign a good technical director, but that's what they need to do from the beginning. Instead of just saying, oh, that guy with the big names available, even though he's been crap and he's been hurt for the last year. Yeah, let's sign that guy. And that's kind of how they've done things. Now they're finally going to have a technical director and hopefully good things come from there. This is not an Everton podcast, but this is quickly what this turned into. So let's finish
I'm going
this
to
up.
switch it to Rafa. Anything in La Liga that it's the Real Madrid show and Barcelona is
The
Barceloning right now.
Well, it's the Sevilla, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid show. Barcelona is they're trying to figure shit out right now.
Well, actually, Real Betis is ahead of Atletico Madrid.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Simeone's kind of. I think he's already kind of worn his welcome there at Atletico. I think they do need a change because he's. I know he won the Liga last year, but I think for Atletico, I think they need move on. I think they need a better coach as far as more offensively, and then Simeone, I think maybe he needs to go to a first start somewhere else. I think his tactics will work in the Serie A. I mean, because it's all defensive there.
Yeah.
And as far as Real Madrid, I mean, what can you say about them? They're
coasting.
They're coasting. They're like I said with the Super Copa win, and you got to give it to Ancelotti. He's in the running for Coach of the Year.
That's another going back to Everton. That's another thing that really crapped on and really screwed over Everton was Ancelotti was their coach. They had their coach there, and James was there. They were looking really good last season. They both left out of the blue and kind of left Everton high and dry, which has kind of led to this kind of crap fest, and they kind of shit the bed with their reactions. But that's kind of the beginning of this season was that Ancelotti just was like, oh, the Real Madrid job's open. All right, see you guys. And then some random Saudi Arabian team was like, hey, James, you want to come make
A boatload of money.
twice as much as you're making right now, and you don't have to play all the time? Yeah, let's do that. That's fine. So that's kind of where that's come from. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, like I said, Ancelotti, I think he's a contender probably for coach. He's done a great job. I think the biggest issue going in was like their defense, and they've really gelled with Alba's been a great piece. I mean, he's really stepped up with that Real Madrid. But then you also give it to probably the best three midfielders, Casemiro, Modric, and Cruz. Those guys they call them all, they're old and this and that. They just keep on ticking. And I think probably the most improved player of the year, if there is an award for that, is got to be Vinicius Jr. That guy he's stepped it up a notch, and he's really turned it on. And
he's really been the savior of Real Madrid because his development directly correlated with the return of Real Madrid. That's pretty much it. Vinicius Jr. just being a world beater out of freaking nowhere. That's it, man. That's it. And
that called up by Brazil now as far as playing. And then, like I said, what do you say about Karim Benzema? He's El Gato, he does what he needs to do, and
just don't be his teammate. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So he's
outside of Serie A, the titles have all been determined, right? You'd have to think PSG's up. 10
Unfortunately,
points, 12 points.
Well, PSG that's
PSG's
that's Ligue 1. That's French. Yeah.
I think you see Milan's up top for the Serie A.
Inter
that's
Milan
close. It's super close. Yeah, that one's really close.
No dominant team in Serie A anymore.
Yeah, Serie A is exciting. Germany's interesting because Bayern Munich has a lot of injured players and a lot of players with COVID, so they've kind of had. Julian Nagelsmann's really navigated that really well, but that's close to where
6 points. But
Dortmund was within 3, but now it's 6 because they. I don't know what they're doing. But it's at least within 6. It's not double digits like Man City has up or PSG has up, or doesn't Real Madrid have double digits up on the league? So
no, they're like I think they're like 6-7 points ahead of Sevilla.
Okay, fair enough.
5 actually, but
okay.
Yeah.
I was listening to a report where Sevilla is about ready to lose one of their center backs, possibly to Newcastle United. So,
well, there you go.
Final thoughts. We're going to start with you, Royce, because we're going to end with Rafa for it here because he's got a topic that he wants to address, and we'll end the show on it. Final thoughts for you, Royce.
Good to be back. Can't wait to start this season. Supposedly it's going to start in like 2 weeks, and we'll hear a lot more. And if any official from SAFC is listening to this, I am going to wear my socks tomorrow. So go ahead and announce a player, please. Thank you.
My final thoughts. I don't know if you paid attention to this, but if you want to order 4 free COVID tests, if you go go on Twitter, USPS, or if you go onto their site. You can go under there, have 4 sites mailed to your address, or 4 test kits mailed to your address, for that here, if you want to have, have that ability, because I know sometimes getting tests have been difficult. Now this is going to be coming out, I think at the end of the month or something along those lines. But like I said here, if, just with the time that we're in with, with COVID and the different, different, versions of it, like I said here, having them at home, having them where you can test at home, and especially if they're free, why not take advantage of that? And like I said here, for that here, and like I said here, it's very easy to be able to order. If you go on Twitter, there's a link at special.usps.com/test kits. It took me 30 seconds to do it. The only thing is it's 1 per address along those lines here. So. Rafa, your final thought, and we'll go main screen with you, buddy.
my final thought is over this weekend. Even though I was in Del Rio this weekend, I still followed tweets and what's going on as far as the high school soccer scene with the tournaments, showcase, and so forth. And there was one tweet that caught my eye, discussing about the officials, and I'm not saying any names, but what the tweet was about is about some games being abandoned, the referees leaving at halftime over some type of discussion, and someone mentioned about the referees need to have some thick skin, and they're hurting the players and this and that and so forth. My final thought is when it comes to, I guess, with the soccer, with officials, we're all come together. We all have to have the same respect, not only as far as like with the players and the coaches, but also with the officials. We may not agree with a lot of the calls, but they're still a vital part of the game that we have. And like I said, those officials are there taking their time because they love the game. They're there to help support the game grow here, especially here in the state of Texas. And right now we are in a shortage of referees, officials right now for a lot of these games, because I have gone to quite a few games, and very rarely have I seen a 3-man crew. A lot of them have been duels. And because, I know COVID's a factor, but also a lot of referees, maybe don't want to take this abuse from the fans or from the coaches and so forth. It's nothing, I guess I mentioned about, having the thick skin. I think you need to look beyond that. We have to have shown respect. They mentioned about coaches, hey, we really need to hold accountable and so forth. And, we should have a thick skin. My personal experience, like I said, I did, have an experience with fans yelling at us and my team, making racial comments. And, for me, should I have a thick skin and just let it go in one ear out the other? No. So if I didn't feel comfortable with that, the referees don't feel comfortable, they shouldn't be going through that abuse. So moving forward on this is like, we all have to come together. We all work together as far as, everyone's a vital part of this game. We need to respect each other. The referees, like I said, and the coaches, if you're a fan out there, we're not going to agree with some of the calls and this and that, and that's just part of the game. It's the spirit of the game, but there's no reason to abuse the referees, saying profanities and so forth. We need to have more respect. We have respect for the players and the coaches. We got to do the same thing for us. And hopefully out of that, we won't have a referee shortage. And like I said, and hopefully we can have this grow. The bottom line for this, my final thought is we need to grow the game here in the state of Texas. And I think football gets too much of the credit. Soccer, like I said, here, it's growing. We have so much momentum, as far as coverage, coverage of the games and getting all the showcases. We're getting kids are getting showcased on, player highlights and this and that. And that's what we need here. We don't need any negativity about, officials or coaches or players. We need to come together. So, like I said, whenever you're at a game, respect the officials out there, just like if you're respecting your parents and so forth. Like I said, they're not going to be perfect. You might not agree with some calls. Like I said, I saw a game Thursday. I didn't agree with one of the calls, but hey, that's just part of the game. So, just if you do go out there, whether it's, like I said, with high school, even the club games, respect the officials. Like I said, we need this soccer to grow here in the state of Texas, and they're very important for us to help that spread here and get that coverage that they deservedly need here in this state.
Well said, Rafa. To me, if you're talking about high school, club, rec, the referees there are also learning the game. They're not they're not the referees at a USL championship or professional game here. I'll admit that I've gave some food for thought for referees at a professional game. But to me, at the high school club, along those lines here, will I sometimes say one thing? Yes, but it's never that constant or it's something that you still have that respect. And I think that's the key thing. And, I know who it is, and I've talked to the person, who sent those tweets out and I hopefully going forward, he won't put it out because he does have a good platform that he does. He does promote the game in a positive manner, but that was not a good look. for that here. Even if the referee was wrong, going after them on social media is not the place to do it. Beyond that, because it doesn't help. It doesn't help the situation. It just inflames it further. And then you saw teams in the discussion below also saying, hey, this and this, and just have respect. Like I said here, for the officials. A lot of them, yes, they do get paid, but a lot of them, it's their second jobs. They're taking time out of their schedule to give back to the game that most likely a lot of them played. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, even at the SAFC matches, I know USL Pro refs, not perfect by any means, but a lot of them are young. A lot of them, it's the system. The U.S. soccer doesn't have it set up to where a lot of them can succeed. In my opinion, the best path. But we hear about refereeing across the world, so this is not just a United States situation. It's not a Texas situation. It's not a San Antonio situation here. But any thoughts that you have on that, Royce? I know you're kind of out of the conversation on it, but any thoughts on referees, especially at the high school club level?
Refs are terrible. Move on. No, no, for sure. Especially down at that level, a lot of it is a lot of it's voluntary basis, and sure, you may get paid a little bit, but it's like voluntary basis. Like, you don't have to do that. That is not you. That is not your main source of income. That is not, you're doing it out of, the goodness of your heart to expand the sport and to help the kids out. I mean, and like you said, there's a ref shortage because of, we're going through a pandemic right now, and at the same rate, down in those leagues, it's when your kid plays t-ball, if there's going to be a missed out at first, it's not the end of the world. Your kid's not depending on their livelihood or a scholarship to go there. It's, it's the same thing with soccer, man. If it's like a JV or even a varsity game, sure, there might be a bad call. It's not going to change anything. The college scouts not looking at just stats. They are going to the game and they're watching your kid. They're watching your child play. And a big thing they're going to look at is how they react to those bad calls. If they react in a very demonstrative, over the top, check that person off the list. I don't want that person, no matter how good they are. I don't want that person's character or personality at my team. If they do see something wrong, then, if you see a bad call, you don't argue with it. You keep playing. At the end of the match, as you're shaking hands with the official, have your kid ask them, what did you see on that play? Because I kind of saw things differently. And just come at it in a very personable, very professional manner. And that's how parents should also act, in a very personable, very professional manner. Sure, boo. Boo is fine. Don't call somebody by names. Don't personally attack somebody. If somebody calls a penalty, don't agree with, oh, come on. And then leave it at that. Cheer your team, support your goalkeeper to try to save it, or support the kid that you have trying to make the goal. That's it. Move on. Don't dwell on the past on the call. And kind of how it goes is kind of an overarching theme is golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. It is an evergreen statement, and no matter what you're in, that's exactly how you should treat another person.
One thing I do want to point out is, like, for the officials, especially with the high school soccer, I don't think we've had problems maybe with like the high school football, where we've seen the incidents like at Marble Falls,
the
incidents down in the valley, getting the referees actually getting insulted. And I think those type of comments being tweeted out, who's to say a player doesn't take that into context, and then the next game,
or a parent,
we have one of our officials getting punched out at a game, or something more violent on that, and then that
inciting violence.
There's we have to show better character on that, especially like I said, character when it comes with the officials. And like I said, we don't want to have that negative those words out there, because it could lead to that. And like I said, God bless her, the high school soccer that we haven't had that situation yet, or that a referee's been punched out or really assaulted, and that's something that us, the coaches, and even the players have to take the responsibility, of not allowing that to happen. And then, like I said, there's something like that. That's been a black eye for Texas high school football, those two incidents. And luckily for us in high school, and for the high school scene, we haven't had that. And hopefully we don't have that in the future because of those comments.
So do want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here. Robert, saw you, Ralph, Matt. I think there was one more. No, that was just it as far as that chimed in. If you are at a game, if you can tag 210 soccer scores or tag TXHS sock scores, that way we can get the scores of the games out. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. But what's life without goals? And we're out of here, and we'll see you possibly next week, if not in 2 weeks, depending on the news of the upcoming week. I have a feeling, or I have a hope that San Antonio FC will be giving some information here, fast and furious, but
you are optimistic. Yeah,
I'm still waiting on them to announce Preston's replacement, so that way he can move on to his new position, and we can get adjusted to the new social media, individuals, and build that relationship. Not that I want to get rid of you, Preston, because you've been a heck of a resource and guy, but if you've accepted another position, get you in your role, and let's get the new person in and get them rolling, because I do think that's also played a little bit of part on the slowness of the information if Preston's doing double duty right now.
Correct.
But thank you guys for turning in. If you can, please like and comment on the show. Thank you.